The rain didn't wash away the sins of the city, it only made them slicker, harder to hold on to. I crouched on the gargoyle-studded ledge of the Sanctum Cathedral, the stone rough and freezing against my palms, watching the alleyway below through the scope of a high-caliber crossbow. You are a descendant of Van Helsing. You are supposed to slay monsters, not lay them. My Uncle Silas's voice still rattled around my skull, a shrill memory that competed with the thunder rolling over the Gothic skyline. He had screamed it at me 3 hours ago when he found the silk handkerchief in my pocket, one that smelled of ozone and ancient dust. He didn't know who it belonged to, only that the scent wasn't human. He was right, of course. My bloodline was a chain of iron and silver, binding me to a duty I had never asked for. But Silas didn't understand the evolution of the hunt. He didn't understand them. Below, the shadows detached themselves from the brickwork. 2 figures. Even from 3 stories up, the aura of power they exuded was enough to make the fine hairs on my arms stand up. One was broad, a mountain of muscle contained within a distressed leather jacket Kale, a Lycan Alpha whose growl could vibrate through a woman's chest from across a room. The other was slender, elegant, moving with a fluid grace that defied gravity, Lucian, a vampire elder, old as the cathedral I perched upon, wearing a tailored charcoal coat that cost more than my entire arsenal. They were sworn enemies by lore, yet tonight they walked shoulder to shoulder. That was the anomaly the Order had sent me to correct. I adjusted the scope. My crosshairs hovered over Lucian's pale, marble-sharp cheekbone. He was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at, terrifyingly perfect. I shifted the aim to Kale. He was raw, heat radiating off him in visible waves against the cold rain, his golden eyes scanning the rooftops. I should pull the trigger, a silver bolt for the wolf, a hawthorn stake for the leech. But my finger froze. Come down, Elara, Lucian's voice drifted up, not a shout, but a whisper carried on the wind, piercing the storm with supernatural clarity. The gargoyles are poor company for a woman of your fire. We can smell you, hunter, Kale added, his voice a rough bark that made my stomach flip. You smell like fear and arousal. Fuck you, I muttered, though I knew they could hear that too. I holstered the crossbow and engaged the grapple line. There was no point hiding. I dropped, the line singing as I descended, landing in a crouch 10 feet from them. I stood slowly, hand resting on the hilt of my silver-edged machete. Silas sent you, Lucian noted, his crimson eyes boring into mine. He didn't look afraid, he looked amused, hungry. He thinks you're plotting a war, I said, the rain plastering my hair to my face. We are, Kale grunted, stepping forward. He towered over me, a wall of aggression and heat, just not against the humans. Then who? Before they could answer, the ground beneath us shuddered. It wasn't thunder. The cobblestones cracked, and a screech that sounded like tearing metal erupted from the sewer grate between us. Hellspawn, Lucian hissed, his amusement vanishing instantly, his face contorted, fangs descending with a lethal snap. The Order's wards have failed. A massive, chitinous limb exploded from the ground, knocking me backward. I hit the wet pavement hard, my breath leaving me in a wheeze. The creature that emerged was a nightmare of multiple limbs and dripping slime, a void stalker, immune to traditional physics, hungry for magic-rich blood. Elara, Kale roared. The beast lunged for me. I scrambled back, fumbling for my blade, but I wasn't fast enough. A blur of gray and black intercepted the monster. Kale slammed into the creature, his body shifting midair, bones cracking and reshaping until a massive timber wolf with fur like storm clouds wrestled the beast. Lucian was there a second later, moving faster than sight, pulling me to my feet. His grip was like a vice, his skin agonizingly cold against my wrist. We cannot fight a stalker in the open, Lucian shouted over the creature's shrieks. The Undercroft now. I'm not going anywhere with you, I yelled, even as I pulled a phosphorus grenade from my belt. Die here or live with us, choose, Van Helsing. I looked at the writhing monster, then at the heavy iron door of the cathedral's crypts nearby. Kale was losing ground, the stalker was too big. I pulled the pin on the grenade and hurled it at the beast. Kale, move. The wolf leaped back just as the white fire exploded. It blinded the beast momentarily. Lucian didn't wait. He swept me up into his arms, bridal style, humiliatingly effortless, and blurred toward the crypt door. Kale, shifting back to human form, stumbled after us, bleeding from a gash in his side. We crashed through the heavy oak doors, and Lucian kicked them shut, slamming the heavy iron bolt home just as the stalker slammed against the wood on the other side. The impact shook dust from the ceiling. We were sealed in, trapped in the dark, damp silence of the dead. I scrambled out of Lucian's arms, backing up until my spine hit a stone sarcophagus. I drew my gun, aiming it between them. "Don't," Cale rasped, sliding down the wall, clutching his bleeding side. His golden eyes burned in the gloom. "We're the only thing keeping you from being eaten, princess." The creature pounded on the door again. The wood groaned. "It will hold for a few hours," Lucian said calmly, dusting off his coat. He looked at me, his gaze dropping to the gun, then up to my eyes. A slow, predatory smile touched his lips, just enough time for us to get acquainted.
Want to keep the flame ignited without having to wait for the next part? You can find the full, tantalizing tale on our main page. See the link in the description.